Hello? Are we live? Is things happening? Does it work? Okay, yeah, I can hear myself for a second, so I need to... Do I? I don't think I actually need to do anything right now. Well, glad everything works so far. Hello, welcome everyone to this another Friday with Yora. I hope you had a fantastic day, fantastic Friday, and fantastic beginning to your new weekend. Another weekend. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. Hope your weekend started great. You had some free time, then you could rest and can spend some time maybe with friends, family, read a book, be cozy. No, things. Actually have not tons of enough. That's not good. I have to move. Okay, since there's time pressure on me right now, I will begin reading another part of the story right now. Once again, the story I took a longer part. It will take me about maybe 30 minutes, so twice as much. A few days later, not sure if Saturday will be possible, maybe on Sunday. The ebook version will be published on my channel, so you don't have to listen to my yapping in and out with the music and everything. It will just be pure voice with some breaks cut out. So it might not make any sense. I will probably delete the VTuber from it somehow. We'll see. Yeah, that's basically it. So last time we read was the beginning of the story. We got introduced into the Belle, who was sitting in some form of isolation. Then we got back into the classroom where we got the basics of the influence powers, the world, how it works, that made humans grow exponentially. The muscles grew, they became taller, the hair color changed to resemble the power. Today we'll be delving deeper into that. But just as a reminder to remember the most important things, since it's going still once a week. Oh man! I'm sorry for the noises. I'm very sleepy. I had not a lot of sleep. I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna grab more water. We're back. Okay, and I'm back. Supplied, watered, like a plant. Let's begin. The next lesson was with Miss Richards, the supervising teacher. No, start recording before, so I can deliver on the promise before. for the walk. So, steady breath. Okay, recording started. Let's get going. The next lesson was with Miss Richards, the supervising teacher. She was a brilliant scientist and a chemist, one of the few who didn't work for the military, but above all, she was a human. During her lesson, kids were supposed to cover world events, the other news, and future plans. Still, she decided to focus more on students. Being affected by the shattering herself, she knows very well how scary that transformation can be. Explaining why certain things happened, answering questions, and comforting students into the new life, something rarely considered these days. Being of medium height and relatively young age, she didn't look too different from her students, while differing significantly from the general population. Full lips and a small nose decorated her face under two almond-shade dark blue eyes. Long, dark azure-colored hair falling on her shoulders and back made her look a lot more slender than she really was. Although she was on the slim side of the spectrum, she still had well-developed muscles that were visible beneath her clothes. The absence of Seth was still, and his friends still didn't surprise her, as her lesson wasn't graded, yet, to her, he was someone who could really use it. So to quickly recap, because your bones become denser, your body adapts stronger muscles to support the extra weight. It's only a logical and natural next step for your development, which doesn't make you a monster, as you might think. Everyone is different in some way, and that is what makes us all human. Military and research facility might make it seem like people in here are stronger than average kids. It's worth remembering that those kids, young adults, were taken from the families without any form of consent and forced into this lifestyle. I'm sorry? I have something. Many of her students are glad they can have someone as kind as her in their lives, in a world that sees them as no more than tools. After the bell rang, Miss Richards thanked her students and wished them a good rest of the day, leaving the classroom. The kids quickly packed the bags and went to their training halls. They had 2 more lessons scheduled for the day. Practical implication: a practice of controlling the powers in a specially created and strictly controlled space, a simulation in an expanded reality. While a primitive version of this technology existed long before, this one transports your consciousness into an entirely virtual body. While the reality doesn't exist, anything that happens there will transpire into the real world. Emotions, memories, injuries, everything you experience will become real once you are disconnected. All of the students went into... Holy, I'm not focused. All of the students went to the private changing rooms. Even Seth came back, covered by the false smell of cigarettes, afraid of what the teacher might do. The only exception to this was Yuki, who didn't have to change since he didn't have any powers, and the pods used to transport students repelled him. Practical implications were with a mysterious teacher known only as the instructor. He was responsible for training military operators and selecting the most promising students to join the forces. He wasn't beating around the bush. His only interest was in results, and no one dared to skip the lesson, as they would be punished harshly. As much as they feared him, he never spoke to them directly, only observing from a distance, never to be seen. Yet the rumors were enough to stress them out. Students quickly changed into their practice bodysuits and waited patiently in the rooms for the bell to ring again. They were still learning the powers, so those clothes were made from fireproof, insulating, and warming wine material in case something went wrong. As an additional precaution, the suit was covered with a web of thin, dark wires, designed to absorb kinetic energy at the point of contact and spread it, minimizing localized damage. Even though they were practicing the simulation, the bodies were still active. There were some cases where students used the powers unknowingly in the pod, thus making the precautions necessary. Like waiting for the final judgment, everyone sat alone in silence, tensed up until the bell rang again. Students from 1A class entered the practice hall and lined up in front of the test pod, facing the balcony. The room they were in was very spacious and open, laid with large tiles on every surface, line of practice pods near the wall, opposing a large glass balcony hanging over the hall, with only scarce dim light coming from the computer screen. When everyone gathered, the hall fell silent until a voice from the speaker noted the class's complete state and ordered the practice to commence. One by one, students entered the pod and tried to relax to gain access to the simulation. When they settled in the pod, Yuki sat at the bench under the balcony and pulled out his tablet. Lacking any power and repelled by the pods, he was unable to participate in the training, yet he excelled at analyzing the information given to him. Every pod had a screen above it displaying what was happening in the simulation, along with all the necessary vitals to control their well-being, including stress levels, blood pressure, heart rate, and their current emotional state. All of these combined are very useful when giving someone feedback. Class started to take control over their avatars as their task appeared in the sight. A black chest height pillar stood before them. This was one of the first lessons they partook in, so the task reflected it very much. Infuse the pillar with your influence. While not particularly challenging, it required a certain level of self-awareness, focus, and emotional control. For people with elemental powers, such as red or blue, it was a relatively simple task. For others with metallic or crystal powers, it was much more difficult, as it required controlling a spectrum of influence to infuse the obelisk. Then there was Miko, with all of them. In the real world, simple powers were explored and put into practice more often because they were easier to master. However, as time passed, more and more crystal and metallic uses proved their usefulness. Diamond, however, have barely been explored yet, as there are fewer than 20 of them. Their only limitation so far was knowledge, skill, and imagination. While those lessons were brief, held only once a week to avoid overstraining students, most of the basic power users had already made considerable progress. I'm lost. Oh yeah, because zero progress. The beginning is the hardest part of the exercise, as you don't know what to expect or what to do. Disoriented, uncertain and directionless, you try to prod around until something happened. Some students like Amy and Jane had already begun infusing the pillar. It was still not enough to fill the entire thing, but progress is progress, and both of them were very proud of it. During today's lesson, a few more students joined the advanced group, Jean and Maria. Although it was not a big deal, it shows them as aspiring and talented students. Okay, that's not still yet. Jean was a tall and handsome man with yellow powers and very short blonde hair. His charming demeanor and good grades made him very popular with the girls at school. However, he wasn't interested in them. His family was quite wealthy, and his father owned an international electronics company. With enough connections, Jean was exempt from military service and had to focus on more utilitarian use of his power. Being more lean than others also made him unlikely to be a soldier. Unfortunately for everyone involved, he wanted to become a psychotherapist, which made him put most of his energy into that. His power had the potential to help him with it, yet the amount of work he'd have to do was unimaginable. Maria was on the shorter side, but still taller than the average human. Light blue, short bowl-cut hair and blue eyes. She studied hard and got along well with everyone in their class, but wasn't close to Miko's grade or popularity. It never bothered her, however, as she was rather shy. Awkward and very silent, she never let anyone know her, but always helped where she could. Like John, she also didn't plan to pursue military fame, as she found marine biology far more interesting. Her blue powers would allow for deeper explorations, or for keeping subjects at the preferred pressure above the ground more easily. While the rest of the students made slow progress, they did so at a steady pace. With each practice, they were calmer and more focused on their goal. After the situation ended, it was the only time when Yuki and Miku played different roles. But there was not much for her to do. She left to change back into her clothes, as he was swarmed by his classmates with numerous questions. Since there was the single good way to learn how to release the powers, they had to figure it out themselves, and hearing Yuki's notes was very helpful. Thinking about their color and what came to mind when imagining it, he could tell from the screens when they were on the right path and when the trouble started, trying to give them pointers on how to redirect their attention to another image instead of stressing, or to recollect what way they're thinking about at a certain point when they were close. He tried his best to help them improve. When it came to more advanced students, he tried to give them pointers about filling the pillar, as controlling the output of the power was very difficult. Amy with red powers controlled heat in simple form, so they needed to compensate for the heat lost during the practice. John was required to ensure that he didn't let any charge escape, as electricity tends to dissipate quickly if it has a chance. Jane had to ensure her influence remained alive when she started to fill the pillar. Maria, however, had the most straightforward task so far, just focusing on the steady flow of her influence. I love that doesn't sound too difficult. Still, being entirely focused on that right mental state to project influence, thinking about charging, maintaining the charge, and the strain it puts on your body, combined made it very complicated. He also advised them not to push too hard and to take it slow. Gulp, gulp. While the rest of the students went on with the day, using the daily credits for leisure activities like shopping, eating out, going to movies, or just sitting at the cafe and having fun, Miku went straight to her apartment alone. This facility was more than just a research and military facility. It was a small city with the immediate families of many workers. It had basic infrastructure to support everyday life, while the center of the said city was occupied by a military building and a massive white spire towering over the tallest of buildings. The outskirts had scarce greenery, a mall filled with shops, a cinema, a gym, and small restaurants. Further beyond the city, on the southern side was a forested area, ending with a mountain range. Being in the middle of the ocean for so long can be mentally draining, so a quiet, natural-looking place was created to counteract it. Food, clothes, and other necessities were free for people living in the facility, but for students, they costed credits. Each day, they were given a certain amount to spend as they liked, or saved for something more expensive. While they were taught about the powers and all, they also had to learn how to plan a budget, the value of money, and how to live on their own. Being all alone, far away from the parents, they had to learn the last part quickly. To make them feel a tad less lonely, students' apartments were a set of blocks where they all lived, close to their newly found friends. While apartments weren't that big, just 2 rooms, a main room with a connected kitchenette, bedroom, and a bathroom. They were free to decorate them as they were pleased. Miku entered her flat and went straight to the bedroom. Light orange walls and a window decorated by pink carnation flower covered by white curtains made her feel almost like home. Lying on top of her orange sheets, face down in the pillow, she was resting after hard work at school. Feeling her phone vibrate in her pocket, she turned to the side and read the notification. It was an email from Yuki. "You did great at practice today. While not successful yet, it will come with time as your powers are more complex than the others. Thinking about diamonds and what they mean to you isn't enough, as you can see. You need to embrace the emotional spectrum they create in you. Try to visualize the type of power you want to project. Going from one to the other, you'll be able to release all you have to offer with a bit of practice. But again, you did great. Understand it takes a lot of effort and strength, so remember to rest properly after each practice. I believe you can do it." "Don, you are annoying." She spoke loudly. "Can you go away now so I can rest?" she said, speaking up to someone, but was in fact all alone in her room. Miku closed the curtains, covering the room with a light shade, allowing her to slowly drift away. Even though she barely closed her eyes for about 40 minutes, she couldn't entirely fall asleep. While she was resting and regaining some energy, the body isn't the only part of you that needs to relax. Her friends were here for the variety of experiences, knocking on the door lightly as they didn't want to wake her up. But if she wasn't, then no harm done. Pulling slowly out the bed, she brushed her head quickly while yelling, "1 second!" Opening the door, she saw her childhood friend, Mia. While she was only 1 year younger, Miku's rapid growth last year made her shorter by almost 2 heads. Pink hair tied in a bun at the back of her head, with short bangs covering her forehead. Mia looked hilariously small compared to Miku's build, but few who would joke about it would be quickly torn to shreds as she was pretty hot-tempered. She was dressed in a long white dress, a light red jacket with long sleeves, and blonde black boots on low heels. Yeah, blonde boots. "Mia, what are you doing here? It's nice to see you too," scoffed at her friend. "Yeah, it's so nice to see you, but it's surprising." Didn't know how to react. Miku struggled to find words. "I get it. How do I know this place exists and so on?" "Well, I knew about this place since my mother gave birth to me here." She responded nonchalantly. "My father works here, so I often visit him with my mom." "You told us you were born in province of Japan," continued Miku, still confused. "Yeah, and you should know by now why. Anyway, let's grab Yuki and catch up." Although it was only the end of September, getting here, both Miku and Yuki had to end the school year in April to complete all the clearances and tests beforehand. "Yuki's probably busy," said Miku hesitantly. "Doing what? I'm sure he will find some time for us. Come on, let's go." Not willing to back down even a little, Mia pushed. "He won't," her expression saddened. "I will tell you about it over coffee." While the coffee shop wasn't far away, the walk there in silence felt unending. When they finally arrived, placing the orders at the register, both girls went outside to the table. After a while, the waiter brought the order to the table and Mia started to sip her coffee, waiting for Miku to gather courage. Yeah. Table. Damn. Unlucky. "We broke up," said Miku silently, to which Mia uncontrollably spat her drink all over the table. "What do you mean you broke up?" she shouted in response and quickly stood up, leaning over the table. "What happened? You never fought, and always looked so happy together." "I don't know, it just wasn't the same." Miku hesitated about how much she could say, not to make the situation even worse for any of them. "What? Even more reason to bother him. I will have to talk to him myself." "I have to talk to him." It's not well. "Talk to him." "Please don't shout. You're bothering others." She pulled on her sleeve to sit down. "We mutually came to the conclusion that it was for the best. He didn't do anything wrong, so you don't need to bother him with it." This is annoying. "Are you sure? Maybe you can talk things out and it will be better." Tried to help her friends, but still it was shocking. They were never apart, always laughing, a perfect couple. "Give me something. I don't believe you would break up just like that without any good reason. Unless you were hiding something from us the entire time, but I doubt that very much." Speaking with confidence, they always talked about the problems, no matter how shameful they felt. "I'm sorry. I can't tell you more about it. Please don't bother him with it," Miku said silently. Okay, replied Mia, very dissatisfied with her answer. "Promise me you won't ask him," pleaded with her Miku. Whatever she was trying to hide, it was very important to keep it that way. "I promise," replied Mia, sensing she wouldn't get far even if she kept on asking. How do you feel? I'm fine. Lying through her teeth, she wasn't fooling anyone, but what other choice did she have? But the conversation became very awkward. After some time, they eventually found a subject they could talk about in peace. Laughing and joking, the sour taste still lingered around them until they finally parted. The sun started to set, as the lighting inside the library swiftly changed from natural to a soft yellow from the LED's light on the desks and across the ceiling. Even though most of the information was digitalized, some still had to be preserved in paper forms so they won't be erased from existence. It included confidential data, a list of personnel at this facility and the students, as well as notes and research from experiments conducted at this facility. Hard drives can break, servers can be wiped, and books can burn and soak, but the more places the information is stored in, the greater the chance it survives an attack. On one of the many desks with holographic screens, Yuki was deep into the science paper. Ever since their breakup, he's been spending most of his time in the library. Studying would be an understatement since he devours the knowledge he seeks. His grades proved it as effective, as he never got below 100% on the test. Some say it's a coping mechanism since Miku was popular and beautiful, and he is neither of those, but none of them knew what really went down. Currently, he was reading about spiritual particles and how they react with atoms in the superposition. Before measuring quantum system was hard. With the shattering, it became less cryptic, as it provided another angle from which to view them. Atoms being in all three states was not precise, since he also breached the barrier between realms and was influenced by all influences simultaneously. Sorry. After both realms crashed together, fluctuations could be observed in which atoms would melt into all 5 states of matter: solid, gas, liquid, plasma, and the most elusive of them all, influence and spirit. In normal circumstances, at the last state, the atom would disappear partially or entirely from sight, but not anymore. Accumulation of those in tight space is believed to be the reason behind the shattering, as the veil separating the realms was ripped apart. The effects on other planets in our solar system are still unknown. The scope of his interest already exceeded academic planning, which partially explained why he could help his classmates develop further. Not having influence of his own is not enough to stop him. "Guess who?" asked him a high-pitched voice from behind while covering his eyes. Second. "Mia!" shouted Yuki in surprise. "Long time no see. I missed you." He quickly stood up and hugged her warmly, lifting her off the ground and spinning. "Yeah, I missed you too. Are you okay?" she asked as Yuki instantly felt the mistake in his action. Putting her on the ground once again, he fell to his knees while shrieking in pain. "I'm fine. I'm not used to it yet," he replied after some time and stood up. "Used to what?" "Well, you missed a lot," replied Yuki while closing the screen. "It's quite late. Do you want to go to my place? I can make us some food and drink so we can talk in peace. I'll walk you back later." "Sure, but weren't you busy with something important?" asked Mia. "More important than you?" "Impossible," he replied with a warm smile on his tired face. They promptly left the library and went back to his apartment. Since the library was located next door to the school, and on the other side was students' apartment, the entire walk didn't even take them 5 minutes. While students were free to do with the apartments whatever they wanted, Yuki's was unchanged from how he got it. Bland, dark yellow walls, floor made of green mats, with a small wooden table in the middle, dark brown built-in wardrobe where he stored a mattress for sleeping, small kitchen space with a few white cabinets, sink, dishwasher, a 2-burner electric stove, and a small fridge. The apartment has windows only on the opposing side, which are covered with dark curtains. Walking in, the first thing Yuki did was to light the yellow light bulbs in the middle of the room and open the window. There was no funny smell, but a breath of fresh air is always nice. Letting Mia further into the room, he turned to the kitchenette. "You want tea or coffee?" asked politely Yuki. Tea, please." "Sure, I got your favorite, blackcurrant," almost chirping in from the happiness. "Of course you do." Knowing well that Yuki always thinks of others before himself, she wasn't surprised, but he somehow felt different. Sick and tired on one hand, but a stranger on the other. While she couldn't put her finger on it, she had that weird feeling deep inside. "So, aren't you curious what I'm doing here?" asked Mia, full of herself. "No, not really. You're still 1 year too young to see if you have powers, so that's not it. The only other way is to visit a family member. Your father?" Yuki quickly and precisely explained his reasoning. How do you know that?" she asked after a few seconds of watching him, impressed, with her mouth wide open. "I guess. I've met someone with a similar aura as your dad, but he's not as nice as you. There's that lingering danger nearby." "Yeah, Papa can be scary. I'm glad I also got some niceness from my mom." "How is your mom doing? Did she also came with you or stayed on the island?" continued asking Yuki. "She also came to present her research. I think we'll be staying for a few days or so." "You don't sound too happy about it," said the boy from beneath his brown hair. While laying down the plates on the table, he continued, "Is something wrong?" "Don't take it wrong. I'm glad I could visit you, but I don't really get along well with my father. If I could call him that," she mumbled under her breath, while the water started to boil. "If he's the same at home as he is at school, then I can somehow understand you." Pouring hot water into 2 glasses, he promptly put them on the table with a side of small bites of ham and tomato sandwich. Cut into small squares and stuffed on a toothpick, it wasn't anything fancy, but it looked like it was. "Anyway, I'm sure you have many questions for me," wanting to stray from the topic, as nothing good would come off of it. "I do have one. Why?" "What why?" "You know what I'm talking about. I promised not to ask, so I can't say." We're technically not breaking that promise. The subject was too important for her to ignore. "Since you found me in the library, you must talk with Miku already." He took a sip of the tea and continued. "I got into trouble with some bad people lately. Situation is under control as of now, but you have to understand her decision not to deal with it. I miss her greatly, but she has a right to..." Wait. Her choice?" Taken aback by the whole, Mia would never consider that Miku would lie. Yes?" Yuki confirmed, confused. She told me it was your mutual decision." "To some degree it was, but not entirely. As I said, I understand why she wouldn't want to be a part of it. Can't change the past and need to live with it now." His expression saddened, yet it was still warm and hopeful. "What do you mean?" asked worried Mia. "Could both of you stop being so cryptic about it? I just want to help." "I know, and I'm glad to have you as a friend, but there is nothing you can do," replied Yuki, as his lips twisted and turned, holding the sorrow inside. Rip. After a few long breaths, he finally composed himself. "It is our problem, with which as I was left alone. But I already know how to get out of that. I respect her decision, even though there were better ways to go about it. It was what she felt was best for her." "But what is that you keep talking about?" Angered by his constant dodging, Mia finally snapped and shouted at him. "I would never lie to you, and I have no idea why she did. But there is nothing else I can tell you without putting you in the same mess." Yuki emphasized the word can, then lowered his head in silence. The room fell into tense quiet, as a tear fell down Yuki's cheek. Mia felt bad about yelling at him since she knew he didn't deserve any of it, but she just couldn't keep it in anymore, no matter what it was. He was left with it all alone and harbored no resentment or anger towards Miku. Yet, meets it with understanding. If that's not love, then I don't know what it could be, she thought to herself. Mia couldn't imagine how much was left unsaid. So, you say you have a plan. Leaning back against the wall, she chomped on the sandwich bites and sipped tea as if nothing happened. I do, but I still need more information, which is why I often study in the library. You can tell me what it is, and I suppose I shouldn't bother Miku with it, which is gonna be hard since I want to twist her head off. Gripping hard on the glass, she almost shattered it. But I can help you. Some information is beyond the student's reach, so maybe I can arrange for you to get higher clearance. That would be awesome. I will see what I can do, she said and winked. It won't be a freebie, so you'll have to repay me one day. For sure. Smiling wide, Yuki was glad he could count on someone once again, even if for a little bit. Thank you for the meal. Mia stood up, finished her tea and headed towards the door. Wait a second, I will get you something warmer so you won't catch a cold, said Yuki, trying to catch her before she leaves. I will be fine, replied Mia. My mom has a flat near the spire behind your school, so it's not that long of a walk. Opening the door, she pointed at a gigantic, tall structure made mostly of glass, yet still seemed to shine white at night, towering over the entire city. And now I can stop you. Say hi to your mom from me. I will, just... She stopped on the doorstep. You have to promise me, both of you will be fine. I will never let anyone hurt her, Yuki responded with still resolve. You too, dummy. Don't let yourself get hurt too. That's... He stuttered. I will keep my hurting to a minimum. It's the best I can do. Fine. Then you'll have to give me double for the favor. Whatever you desire. Yuki bowed down before her as they started to laugh. Both of them understood well that sometimes things need to be done, no matter the consequences. She didn't press further. Waving goodbye to one another, she left toward the spire as Yuki stayed indoor for a bit. Watching Mia fade in the distance, he thought for a bit about friends left on the island. A weird kind of ache seeped into his heart, but his rationalization quickly swept it away. Before closing the door, he noticed a familiar shadow in the distance, watching him closely. He didn't breach the contract, so she should be safe, but you can never be too careful. A bit more stress on his body, but it's only for a little bit longer. End. Oh yeah! So, this is second part of the book. Took about 30 minutes. That's what I said it will be taking. Yeah. This is where I would normally be answering questions or talking about things. But since I don't have anyone to talk to, I won't. And also, I didn't see that today is a day that is to be dying. So, yeah, another short stream. So, what I realized so far, the tempo of my speaking is not really great. And obvious pronunciation of a few words, but I feel like the quality of my voice is improving. For the last months I've been training and trying to take more care of my throat and vocal cords. So maybe somewhere there is there's an inch of progress. Also, I haven't smoked in a week, so in maybe a few months the quality would also again improve. It's still far from perfect. It's nowhere near what I want it to be. But maybe at the end of the book, I will be better. The other thing is, I'm trying to give the characters voice. Like, during the first stream, I also tried to give them voice. So they're unique, so they are not bland, so they won't just be read. So I try to give them voice, but not everything I can voice. Like, for example, Mia. She has a kind of high-pitched voice, which would be impossible for me because I will hurt myself. Not in the long run, in the short one. Like, a single sentence or two will throw me in a coughing spasm, which is something I'm not able to do, able to afford. Yuki speaks soft. He speaks soft, he speaks slowly. Play the music. Yeah, okay. No, so I was afraid something broke again. But yeah, this stream I fixed a few things. I got the pop filter to work. I hope I fixed a few things with microphone. Balanced some audio issues. Really hope, I really pray it was better. I will see it probably tomorrow because I'm falling asleep as I speak. Miko is also very soft to narrate, but this is another issue of mine. I don't have enough vocal range as of now and imagination to give everyone voices, so probably would stick to normal-ish reading of the voices. But in the future I will try my best to give everything their own unique voice, but we'll see. As I'm reading this over and over and over again, this is like 20th time I've read it, I still find moments where there is table, there is this said and this said again, this word and this word. The repetition is crazy. Like, not every repetition is bad. Like, for example, at the start, let me scroll up for a little bit. Here. This is explanation, like introduction to the system, the ecosystem of the facility, like what they can do and everything. Miko entered her flat and went straight to the bedroom. Light orange, blah 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 blah. Yeah, walls. Description of her room and everything. Then again we have Yuki. Students were free. This is a repetition. This is another repetition, but it serves a purpose. It's there to to hammer the fact that they can do whatever they wanted. And it it shows that Yuki doesn't care about the room. He just treats it as an apartment, a place to live and sleep. He's not here. He doesn't really do anything with it. It's just there, an object that doesn't provide him with anything. Like, it shows to some degree at this moment a disconnection. So I feel like some repetition is good. Not every, but some is. And I know I have a lot of repetition in every moment of the story. And again, it's my first full-on book, so I can't expect it to go greatly, but I really wish it would. And if anyone is curious, because before ending the stream, because it's 35 minutes, I should have been gone 15 minutes ago. And it's not like it makes any difference. The book will be published. I don't want to set a date in stone because there's fairly big possibility I won't be able to finish by the time, because I have still a lot more work to do. So in December, probably 13 December, 13 or 20 December, the book will be published on Amazon. So if anyone wants to read the whole book, the whole story in one sitting, they will be free to do. So the book won't be expensive, like $2 or anything in the Kindle. But yeah, that doesn't change anything. I will still voice over the entire book. I will still read it on stream. Nothing will change. It's just a way to support me to some degree. Support me and to support the entire journey of me learning things. This is a okay, that's my thought. But yeah, some repetition is very nice. It hammers in the important things that you can use. Also, one more thing. Like, this is the second chapter, so if you are here, you already noticed that the entire book is not really heavy on descriptions. A lot of the world is this is science fiction, this is future, but it's like 2068, 2070, so it's not that far off, not that far away. It's near future, so the entire world is based around that. Everything is kind of similar, and if it's not, then I specified what is the difference. I think it removes a lot of fluff from the book, a lot of things that are unnecessary or just provide no value to the overall story. That's my opinion. The descriptions are very important for the book to set up the setting, to show the world, to create, to breathe life into it and everything. It's very important. But too many is also not enough. It's a fine balance that I guess I'll try to walk, and how it goes, nobody knows. Okay, this is going to be everything for today. Thank you for joining me on this 30 minutes episode of a 40-50 minute stream of reading a book. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I give you a little bit of smile on your face. I hope you could relax for a second. And you will have a wonderful and fantastic weekend. And if you have work tomorrow, don't worry, relax today, have a nice rest, go to work and start your weekend tomorrow. That's also gonna be fun